survive the year, but I felt as though I'd uncovered something secret about our faith. Even in lucid moments, I found my feelings so difficult to explain. And at that time, when I should have felt abandoned by God, I was not reduced to ashes. I felt like I was floating on the love and prayers of those who hummed around me like worker bees, bringing notes and flowers and warm socks and quilts embroidered with words of encouragement. They came in like priests and mirrored back to me the faith of Jesus. When they sat beside me, my hand in their hands, my own suffering began to feel like it had revealed to me the suffering of others, a world of those who, like me, are stumbling in the debris of dreams they thought they were entitled to and plans they didn't realize they had made. That feeling, it stayed with me for months. In fact, I had grown so accustomed to the floating feeling that I started to panic at the prospect of losing it. So I began to ask friends, theologians, pastors I knew, what am I going to do when it's gone? They knew exactly what I meant because they had either felt it themselves or read about it in great works, Christianity. St. Augustine calls it the sweetness. Thomas Aquinas called it something mystical like the prophetic light. But all said, yes, it'll go, the feelings will go, the sense of God's presence will go. There'll be no lasting proof that God exists. There will be no formula for how to get it back. But they offered me this bit of certainty, and I clung to it. When the feelings recede like the tides, they said they will leave an imprint. I would know somehow I would be marked by the presence of God. It's tempting to want to make healing a formula, to leave it in our control. One of my favorite authors, Nadia Bolz-Weber, says, grace is ultimately more reliable than virtue. The virtue is trying your best to follow all of the rules, to be a good person, to lead a decent life, so that God might, out of the 7 billion other people on the earth who are also trying to live good lives, hear you and say, hey, you're living a good life. I'll give you what you want. Virtue is not reliable because there's no way you can live a virtuous enough life to earn God's favor. Grace, though, grace is that which nobody earns and everybody gets. Don't let anybody tell you the gospel makes sense. It does not. It's disturbing because we can't make the gospel happen and we can't keep it from happening. There's no inside group that has the secret to healing, and there's no outside group that is wondering for the secret to healing. And the church is not this a place that you can come and pay $10 for a book and figure it out. Through the incarnation, God tore down the lines of insider and outsider, healed and not healed, and brought us from the dark of loneliness to a relationship of grace and love. In the words of Kate, God is here, we are loved, and that is enough. And when we ask Jesus for healing, we leave this idea of darkness behind, and we find Jesus sitting there right beside us in the light, enduring our pain along with us. And God came into the darkness so that we would not have darkness, for God loved all people. When Jesus made that last turn down the Via Dolorosa on the way to the cross, he gathered our pain to himself and took it to the cross with him. This is the gospel, that God loved us so much that God would enter into our pain, into our suffering, into our darkness, and give us a little light. Jesus is the light. Jesus is the sweetness in the darkness. Jesus' presence is the healing balm. There is no formula. It's just there. Jesus asks, will you choose me? It's tempting to feel satisfied in the darkness with our own perception of light. Augustine says, "You never go far away from us, yet we have difficulty in returning to you. Come, Lord, stir us up and call us back. Kindle and seize us. Be our fire and our sweetness. Let us love and let us run." So today, whatever healing you need, whatever it is you're dealing with, and I believe we're all dealing with something, I wonder, will you run to Jesus today? Will you come and throw your pain on Jesus to the cross? Will you ask Jesus for healing? Will you respond to this offering of light? Will you bring your weariness, your exhaustion, your pain, your anger, your discontent, your heartache and your sadness, your secrets and your grief? We're all in need of healing. And Jesus is the sweetness. That is the healing. And so today, as we respond to this calling of Jesus, I believe that we all have something that we're dealing with. And in your bulletin, you've got a piece of paper. And on that paper, in a minute, as the band comes to lead us in some music, I invite you to reflect on whatever sort of pain, whatever sort of anger, whatever sort of frustration that you have. Write it down on the paper. You don't have to let anybody see it. You can fold it up if you want. You can write it in big, bold letters and leave it for everybody to see if you want. But just as we know Jesus took our pain on him and put it on the cross and ultimately put to death our pain and suffering, so today we're going to bring our pain and need for healing to the cross. As you think and reflect on what you need healing for today, whether it's a broken marriage, a broken bank account, a broken life, a broken spirit, whatever it is, Jesus wants to offer you the sweetness of God's peace today. I'm going to put the cross here in the middle and lay it down on the altar to symbolize Jesus' life laid down for us. There's some nails and hammers here on the front. If you would like to bring your pain and symbolically and literally nail it to the cross to symbolize that no matter what we have, God wants to take that from us and to offer us some sweetness. I pray that you'll come and offer that pain to Jesus so that Jesus can, in some miraculous way, offer you sweetness.